Scientists spent 60 years and still couldn't figure out what this thing even was. It had eyes, but the eyes were stuck on the ends of two antenna-like stalks. It had a mouth, but the mouth sat at the very front of a tube, like a vacuum cleaner with a butt on it. On the seafloor 200 million years ago, it just drifted there, looking like a failed alien prototype dumped on Earth. But the strangest part was this. In the whole world, there was only one place where it could be dug up: Illinois, USA, in a mud pit called Mazon Creek. That makes no sense. If it had really existed, why was there not a single fossil fragment of it anywhere else on Earth? Even more disturbing, scientists tested its DNA and found that in the entire animal kingdom, there was not a single phylum that could contain it. It was neither a fish, nor a worm, nor a mollusk. It was like something had been forcibly grafted onto the tree of evolution. Some said it was an ancestor of the octopus. Others said it was an early branch of vertebrates. After decades of argument, in 2016, scientists finally gave an answer. But that answer made people's backs feel even colder, because its body structure suggested one possibility: that Earth may once have had an entirely different life system, a set of living things unlike all life that exists today. And the Tully Monster might be the only evidence left behind by that system. One amateur fossil collector pried open a rock in an abandoned coal mine. The moment he saw what was inside, he froze for 3 full seconds. A black imprint, about 30 centimeters long, lay in the center of the rock layer. Its shape made him think he had unearthed the remains of an alien organism. He carried the fossil to the Field Museum in Chicago. The paleontologist at the desk stared at it for 5 minutes without saying a single word, not because he was excited, but because his brain had completely jammed. You have to understand, for professionals, identifying a fossil is like a doctor reading an X-ray. They can usually spot the problem at a glance. But this thing was different. It was like a machine with a Ferrari engine running on bicycle tires. You simply had no idea where to begin. Museum experts studied it in turns for 10 years. No one dared make a final call. In the end, scientists collectively raised a white flag and simply called it the Tully Monster. That was a rare surrender in the history of science. To slap the word monster onto a living thing was basically a public confession. We don't understand it. And the truly maddening part wasn't just that it looked strange. It was that if you took each of its body parts separately, each one was enough to rip biology textbooks to shreds. Its eyes were not on its face. They were mounted on 2 stiff, horizontal flesh rods with bulbs at the tips like 2 light bulbs hanging on a barbell. That arrangement meant it may have had 360-degree, no blind spot vision. Any predator trying to ambush it would have looked to it like a slow-motion replay. Yale University magnified its eyes 1,000 times with an electron microscope and found 2 kinds of melanin hidden in the retina, round ones and elongated ones arranged neatly like bricks. That structure exists only in vertebrates. Its chemical composition was exactly the same as the human eye, and its mouth was even more bizarre. From the front of its head extended an extremely long, thin proboscis, like a tough drinking straw. At the tip was a pincer-like jaw lined with 80 tiny teeth. This structure stands alone in the animal world. It didn't need to get close to prey. It only needed to swing that organ like a mechanical arm and precisely stab its toothed clamp into the target's soft spot. Imagine this, a straw with teeth jabbing toward your neck, followed behind by 2 floating eyes. Wouldn't you also feel like the world had glitched? After scientists had been tortured by this thing for half a century, a Yale research team used synchrotron scanning on more than 1,200 fossils. They found a white line running through the middle of the body. In the journal Nature, they announced that this creature was very likely a vertebrate, a distant ancient relative of lampreys. The entire paleontology world erupted, because that would mean that we humans, 300 million years ago, had once had such an alien-looking relative. But as soon as that conclusion was published, the University of Tokyo stood up and slapped it down. They brought in a micron-precision 3D laser scanner, scanned 153 fossils, reconstructed the 3-dimensional anatomy, and found that the Tully Monster's body was segmented from head to tail, including the section in front of the eyes. But vertebrate heads are absolutely not segmented. That is iron law. All the structures previously thought to be vertebrate traits were exposed as false leads. The so-called trilobed brain was merely wrinkles caused by fossil compression. The so-called gill sacs were just collapsed side indentations. Nothing was clear at all. The Japanese team published a paper whose title said it plainly. 3-dimensional anatomical evidence rejects the vertebrate identity of the Tully Monster. The academic world fell silent. We were back to square one. We still had no idea what it was. But now the problem was even more serious. Because those features on its body that only vertebrates are supposed to have, such as complex eyes and efficient predatory organs, were undeniably real. It was not a vertebrate, yet it wore vertebrate-grade equipment. It was like a tractor fitted with a Ferrari engine and a bicycle drivetrain, and somehow still outrunning a car. Even more unbelievable, this misshapen oddity thrived in a sea region where death rates were off the charts 300 million years ago. The waters where the Tully Monster lived, around Mazon Creek, were a shallow estuary with an extremely high mortality rate. In those fossil layers, 90% of organisms seem to have died suddenly. Scientists speculate that toxic algal blooms frequently broke out there, causing the seawater to lose oxygen in an instant, and entire communities of organisms to suffocate together. But in that hellish environment, the Tully Monster ranked among the top 3 most abundant fossils. To date, more than 35,000 specimens have been unearthed. That means it was living extremely well. Its soft, floppy body should, in theory, have been wiped out in the very first oxygen depletion event, but instead it became a permanent resident. And the strangest thing of all, among all those fossils, not a single juvenile specimen has been found, not a single egg. What does that mean? It may have had no juvenile stage at all, or its method of reproduction may have been something completely beyond our imagination. Even now, paleontologists around the world are still arguing endlessly. The vertebrate camp says we scanned 1,200 fossils and found traces of a notochord. The opposing camp says those are just elongated impressions. The supporters say they found gill sacs. The opponents say those are just folds. The two sides have been fighting in top journals for nearly 10 years. The most ironic part is this. The state of Illinois designated it as the state fossil for one reason, because it is unique. But this uniqueness goes so far that it cannot even be placed anywhere in the tree of Earth's life. After all these decades, people are still arguing over what it is. Scientists can only say 2 things for sure. First, it is an Earth organism. Its isotopes show that it ate the same kinds of food as other life forms of its time. Second, it does not play by the rules. Every combination of its organs challenges our understanding of how life evolves. So what does the Tully Monster tell us? That evolution is not a staircase from lower to higher forms. It is more like a wildly chaotic competition arena. Some players level up slowly by the rules. Others switch on cheats and skip entire stages. The Tully Monster was the most outrageous cheater of them all, using an invertebrate chassis to install a vertebrate-level sensory system, then going on a killing spree in the Carboniferous seas. Those barbell-like eyes, that straw packed with tiny teeth, that soft, floppy body that defies classification. Over 300 million years, they were pressed flat into black imprints, one after another. They lie quietly in the mud layers of Illinois, coldly watching us, the latecomers, as if asking one question: do you really think you understand this world? Evolution never had a script. There was no preset plan, no so-called correct direction. Only survival itself has ever been the one and only truth. And the Tully Monster, this alien thing that has made scientists argue for 70 years, has proved one thing through its bizarre existence. There will always be things in the universe that we cannot understand.